Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. High as dark as I, beautiful Shadowkin. How we doing? Hope you guys are ready for the weekend because I think a lot of you guys are going to be opening up shards. I think a lot of you guys might be farming this a little bit harder now in Raid Shadow Legends. So let's make sure we're starting off the vibe strong for the weekend. And what better way of starting up the vibe than use my link down below, or scan the QR code. For all the new players out there, you're gonna get 4 free champions right away if you use my link down below, or the QR code Corrado, Tagore, Ugo's, Deacon, Armstrong's. Oh yeah, it's a pretty solid package. But speaking of a solid package, holy, they basically over at Raid Shadow Legends turned the Chronophage gear set into like, holy cow, I need to farm more of these now. So let's get down to business. We got a bunch of notes. We have a new platinum pass that's coming. We got some new relics. We got some mass summoning quality of life changes, some rebalances. We got things to go over, people. So sit back, relax. Let me pull up Raid Shadow Legends real quick. So I want to start off with this before we get to anything else, because you might need to farm this now and in larger quantities and a little bit harder than you're probably expecting. So we got a new gear set, artifact set, whatever you want to call it, in Raid Shadow Legends, the Chronophage set. And for a lot of people, just like, I don't need to go too hard on this. Well, Raid changed the game a little bit. They're upping how much speed quite drastically, as well as making the whole anti-cooldown increase thing guaranteed with all these pieces that you're going to be throwing on. Pretty big deal, because compared to the last set that we had with Pinpoint, you know, Pinpoint in general was just a lot better. However, they're now matching the speed, and they're going to make this whole immutable effect, which is an anti-cooldown increase, make it so much more dang powerful. And my guess is, you know, because this was kind of feedback that was given like when they first announced it. So I was like, that seems okay. It wasn't like I had to drop everything for like the Pinpoint. My guess is that maybe people aren't farming the dungeon hard enough for not Splinter, Shredder's event dungeon he's got going on. So they're like, we need to get these people to spend more of their energy. Like my plan with this whole, you know, Chronophage thing, I was farming, you know, the Shredder's Wrath tournament, you know, while we had like a, you know, dungeon diver. Was like, yeah, sure, all right, I'll farm it. And now it's like, oh, I might need to push a little bit harder on this before before it goes away. So let's go talk a bit more about that and all the other stuff we got cooking up in here in the kitchen. So let's talk about this first here. We want to inform you of the upcoming changes to the limited event dungeon set Chronophage. So first, they're rebalancing the stats. Whereas before, you were only getting, I believe it was, what was it, 5, 10, was it? No, it wasn't. Was it 10? I thought it was 12. Hold on, pull it up again. Was it that low? Was it only 10%? I mean, in turn-based games like this, speed is king. Plain and simply. And if you're not getting a lot of speed and the other ones have speed, it makes this kind of a hard sell. Yeah, let's see. Currently, it's 5. Wow, really? Yeah, it was only 10%. I thought it was, could have sworn it was 12%. Wowee. Yeah, this is going to be a huge boost in power, because look, now it's 10, 20, 32, tripling the speed on this bad boy here. That's a big deal. And I think that's something I want to point out. Even if you can't build, like, let's say the full entire set, a 2-piece for 10% speed, you know, that's nice flexibility that you have at your disposal. Let's just look at some other ones, for example, that are a bit more, you know, speed oriented. Like take a look at Perception, for example. The two of them together only get you 5 speed. Obviously, Perception's more for accuracy boost, right? Or let's take a look at, you know, just the basic OG stuff, speed itself. 2 pieces get you 12%. So all I'm saying is this Chronophage stuff might be nice. Let's say you have 2 extra spots sitting around and you can't really do a full Chronophage set. Just getting 2, or right now it only gets you, you know, 40 resistance. But now it's going to get you an extra 10%. So really good flexibility. So don't sleep on that. That's one of many reasons why you might want to start putting a bit more effort into farming this here. But moving on, though, the other thing they're changing besides amplifying the speed on this, the 32%, man, that's solid. They're also making the whole immutable effect. They're buffing the buff, essentially. Whereas before, immutable would just reduce the effectiveness of any attempt to increase the skills cooldowns on a champion, which, you know, it's okay. It's all right. But now they're altering the deal, where now after the rebalance, it'll just completely block an attempt to increase skill cooldown on a champion. It's going to negate a single attempt to increase the skill's cooldown. And then also, as it says in here, block that cooldown increasing effect entirely. The whole thing, if you're equipping it, you kind of want to do the one thing it's designed to do, right? So they're making it so it really shuts down cooldown increases. And it's funny enough, I don't want to call it a nerf, but this is a straight up like super duper hard counter to Lord Entertainer Fabian, or even I guess if you want to go things like Alice the Wanderer, for example. They rely on tons and tons of cooldown increases. So if you're able to just completely shut that down, ooh, yeah, that could be a big deal. This could be a massive Lord Entertainer Fabian counter. So you're seeing a lot of those, which I do see them quite a bit. This could be a big thing to have in your arsenal. So I guess it goes to show they're giving you the heads up now. They're like, you guys aren't farming this enough. Let's sweeten the pot a little bit for you. Yeah, this is going to be a bigger deal. And, you got 9 weeks to farm it. So luckily they told us now rather than afterwards, because people would have been mad. So you have the opportunity to farm it. Only thing that kind of sucks about these event dungeons, I've been just farming, stage 20, I believe. Stage 20 is just a nice number in my mind. It's fast, simple look, 13 seconds, bada bing, bada boom. Maybe I should force myself to push a little bit harder. Okay, maybe I'll do that. But the thing that kind of annoys me is that, I have to worry about all these other gear pieces here, like curing. I mean, accuracy's okay. Daze, crit damage, I'm not really using those. Those are kind of basic. I wish it was just solely Chronophage. That's it. That would make me want to spend a lot more energy, but like, for example, I maxed out that the Shudder tournament. And as you can see, my arsenal of Chronophage after maxing the whole thing out in terms of the tournament rewards, this is all I got right now. It's not quite a lot, so I'm hoping that maybe, again, I don't think they're going to make any changes now, but maybe I got to push hard. These are too many rares. All right, I might have to push a bit further than stage 20 if I want to get the better piece of gear. Anyways, I don't like that they mix all these other artifacts that I might not really need. It's just diluting the Chronophage that now I got a bit more of an interest for. Bringing back up the notes. What else we got here? They plan on releasing this next week, by the way, along with the small fix that will speed up team attack animations for turtle-only teams. So they're seeing that with all the turtles. It's cool that they get the tag team. It takes a lot of time, I guess, with the animations. Takes a lot of the, when you have a limited amount of time, you don't want to sit there watch them bounce around like it's a circus for 10 hours. So they're speeding that up. But as you can see here, this is a great change. The stats now make sense to be a really great alternative for the pinpoint accessories. Or look at this, I could see this being a first choice champ for like Prince Kaimar, Donatello, who can reset cooldowns. Basically means they can prevent themselves getting shut down, then basically undo it for the rest of the team. Nice, right? So you really, I guess you can only put it on one character. Like, I think that's a great example, like Prince Kaimar. So if everyone else gets their cooldowns jacked, that Prince Kaimar can fix it right up. So I think there's gonna be a lot of interesting theory craft potential there. Now we got some other stuff I want to go over with y'all. Here's what we have. First and foremost, or second most, I should say, because the first thing was the Chronophage. Platinum Forge Pass is a common. Where now, before you had the free pass, the gold pass, which has been around for a while, they're adding a stage on top of it called the Platinum Pass, where you still will get the benefits of the Gold Pass. But keep in mind, as they're saying, not every Forge Pass will necessarily feature all three tiers at once, being Platinum, Gold, and the freebie one. Also, the relic crafted materials present in the Forge Pass will become available in particular events and tournaments going forward, but we don't have more information to share on that matter just yet. So they're going to do more ways of getting this in other places, but there's going to be a bit of a paywall situation regarding the accessibility to it for the meantime. Because they did say, hey, we're going to make relic stuff a bit more accessible. Like, yay. And then it's like Forge Pass. Where it's like, wait, what? Forge Pass? So they're looking, or not looking into it. They'll get around to it eventually in particular events and tournaments. But for now, it's just going to be this. I don't know if they're planning on changing the pass pricing. I generally, for the past couple months, especially when there's one of the better artifact sets, I'll go ahead and buy the gold pass, especially it's got all the extra XP boosters and silver boosters, whatever. I'll pick it up. If they don't change the pricing at all, which let's be real, they probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if they add another $10, $20 for the Platinum Forge Pass. But if they kept it the same for the gold pass, and it's just, again, it's wishful thinking, it's going to be pretty more valuable. A lot more valuable is the word I'm trying to say. But here's what we have moving forward. They're going to have this Pyros Melios, where it deals 2% more damage if all allies are alive. Okay. Doesn't work if there are no allies in battle, so all right. So that could be nice. You can increase that damage a bit more. You got the Frost Spawn Cocoon, where it's healed by 2% of their max HP when using their default skill. So great for getting like a lot of swarm attacks, for example, or you had a lot of good basics action. Then we have the Andromeda's Diadem. Whenever the wearer heals an ally with an active skill, has a 10% chance to decrease the cooldown of one of the wearer's skills by one turn. That could be nice. And of course, you can jack those rookie numbers up a little bit if you upgrade it. So that seems like that could be interesting. A lot of healing related stuff here. And then we have the Exile's Crown. Whenever a wearer receives 1% less damage for each debuff on them. So if you have a team that's spamming debuffs on you, this could be beneficial, right? This could be very, very helpful. I don't know. I'm like, Hydra, they spam a lot of debuffs out there, right? So this could be beneficial. It's always fun to like, compared to like games like Galaxy of Heroes, these are such small little bonuses when you try to compare it to. Galaxy of Heroes, they'll just be like, yeah, I don't know, here's 300% offense or damage, whatever you want to call it. It's like, oh, okay. I see how we're going to play this. So it's so funny seeing raid. It's like, little tiny baby upgrades. But the good thing is, unlike Galaxy Heroes, these are permanently in your roster. Whereas in that game, they get deleted after a couple months against your will. Then the Blades of Akumori. Whenever an ally is attacked by an enemy, the wearer has a 50% chance to place provoke debuff on the attacker. Okay. All right. That's interesting. Venus Centranos. Whenever an enemy receives a buff, the wearer has a 50% chance of getting the same buff for 2 turns. Occurs once per turn. That sounds interesting as well. And mythical ones, which I've yet to get a single mythical relic in this game. Once per round, wearer is revived at 50% HP and 50% to return. Ooh, interesting. Okay. All right, so kind of like a self-savior mechanic. Dread Bomb. Wearer has a 10% chance to gain an extra turn when attacking. That sounds great. Wearer also ignores 10% of enemies' defense when attacking during extra turns. This is great. This is a good one. I can see this being extremely, extremely helpful. Ooh, man. I'm not going to get it, though, likely. Maybe that's why I got to buy the Platinum Pass. Grandma, do I have your permission to buy it? She blinked. That means I can get it. And we also have this QL mass summoning going on. So, especially when you're farming a lot of, I do a lot of dungeon stuff. You're getting a lot of champions, or you open up a bunch of mystery, void shards, ancient shards. Sometimes you go over your limit for your roster, right? And then that just ends up in your inbox, gets kind of cluttered. So they prepared a couple of quality of life improvements to help deal with the overflow of champions after summoning them in mass, be it for an event or any other purpose. First of all, the number of free slots in the reserve vault will be increased to 600. The total number of slots now amounts to 1,200, and we'll add a summon to reserve vault button in the portal menu. If you tap it, all newly summoned champions will be sent to the reserve vault. Use it when your collection's full. So it's nice, nothing like crazy game changing, but it's better than going to your inbox. We'll add a new filter, also instant upgrade in the tavern, which will allow you to sacrifice rare champions. Don't worry, it's turned off by default, so you'll be pretty safe if you from accidentally wasting your champions. You don't want to. Other miscellaneous things, you can mute up to 1,000 players. Okay, cool. I've never had the need to mute someone, but I'm sure maybe some people have to. They're going to add Basalt of various ranks. We added to the stage in Cursity. Nice. Live Arena seasonal changes. Hopefully they're going to make those Live Arena changes at some point. And Chimera Trials. So that's nice. Yeah, that's another problem. Basalt, I got like a bunch of 2, 3s. I don't have a lot to go to like 4 and beyond. Let's see what else we got. Anything else that was, nothing else really of a high value here. Then we have 2 reworks. Unfortunately, I have neither. We have Elegaeus and Raglan. We have a Void support Bannerlord, as well as a Magic support Undead Horde members here. Don't got these guys, but basically the basic Spirits of Spite. It's going to have a 50% chance to a 25% chance of a blocked active skill for 2 turns instead of 1 turn. The Dead Stop. Now, if there are any enemy champs that share the same affinity as the initial target, then you're also going to put all their skills on cooldown in place of block buffs, debuffs on them for 2 turns. Seems pretty interesting. Whereas before, it was only if the enemy had any duplicates of the target champion. So yeah, not very helpful, right? Now it's the same affinity. Much different concept. And also, Ghost Rage. Now we have a 75% chance of removing all buffs too. So nice. Instead of before, it was just 75% chance of removing 2 random buffs. Again, not very helpful stuff. So much bigger changes. The same affinity. What are you, Magic? You know what? Hold on a second. No, not Galaxy of Heroes. Wrong game. Pull it up real quick. All right, never mind. So it was a Magic champ. I was just looking. I guess for example, Alice the Wanderer. Something like that. I was thinking maybe Lord Entertainer Fabian. Like if Lord Entertainer Fabian's there, you could just completely mess up his cooldowns. That would be pretty neat, but no, that's not how it's working, unfortunately. Not the same affinity. Actually, if there are any enemy champions that share the same affinity as the initial target, maybe. I wonder. Do you know? I misread that. I thought it was the same affinity as Elegaeus. That's even better than I first read. Yeah, because now if you target someone that's a spirit, you can also mess up Lord Entertainer. Ooh, that could be interesting. I'm not saying if that's going to be a thing, but that's a lot more interesting. It got better and better as I read it a few more times. And then Raglan. And before, you know, not a lot going on here, but now you have a 50% chance of an increased accuracy buff and a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. And the value, this is proportional to a champion's attack and HP, so making this a lot more valuable in terms of stat boost. And then the After for Miracle, now besides just the revive and 100% Terminator, also decrease the cooldown of all revive ally skills by 3 turns. They're really loving these cooldown reduction stuff now. And maybe it's on their mind because of the Chronophage set. And then the Blessed Invocation. This champ is immune to blocked active skills, debuff, and cooldown increasing effects. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff going on here. The quality of life stuff is okay. I think the biggest thing is that I want to make sure you guys have the heads up. If you were thinking of not going too hard on the Chronophage, like I kind of was, this became a lot more valuable, not just for the whole immutable stack situation going on. Just getting the 2-piece speed set is a big boost right there. And considering it's 32% if you get the full package, yeah. So all right, I might not need to slack on this event dungeon. I'm gonna see if I can push a little bit farther in this and, you know, stop getting all the rare stuff, because, you know, rare gear and kind of difficult to make those pretty useful, especially if they're not having speed on them. But that's gonna wrap it up for today. Before you get going, listen, if you made it this far and you haven't been playing Raid, what the heck are you doing? Use the link down below, scan the QR code. You're gonna get 4 free champions, a legendary Karada right away, Ugo at level 15, and Tagore at level 30, right? And Deacon Armstrong at level 40. Leave that like, comment down below, subscribe so you're not missing a thing, my friends, and always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.
It's great to be in the Empire today. The sun never sets.